The story is now breaking that the owners, the WNBA owners, did in fact send a new proposal over to the players last night. And the details are emerging. And it seems the owners said, nah. As of right now, they did not budge an inch on revenue share.
The WNBA-CBA talks have hit a dead end, and Caitlin Clark stepped up to speak the truth. No sugarcoating, no polished statements. Just a straightforward, honest take on a situation that could derail an entire season of women's basketball. The timing of her voice could not be more critical. Drop a comment below. Do you think the WNBA season will actually happen in 2026, or are we headed toward a cancellation that could set the league back for years? Let's break down where things stand at this moment, because the CBA developments have accelerated over the past few hours, and the full story is far more complex and frustrating than most headlines are showing.
Seems like the owners know there needs to be a season, but it's a season on their terms. If the season's not on their terms, they are fine with literally burning down the league. Because
the WNBA owners returned to the negotiating table with a fresh proposal. The Players Association had put forward their plan on February 17th, seeking a salary cap under $9.5 million and a 25% share of revenue, averaging about 27.5% over the duration of the agreement. The owners came back with their counteroffer. Here's what their new proposal actually included: a $5.65 million salary cap, with players receiving no more than 15% of total revenue based on the league's projections. The league also added guaranteed housing for all players and a small adjustment to how team expenses are calculated. Beyond that, the salary cap and revenue-sharing framework remained essentially the same as their previous offer.
Want to get this 30% revenue share because, for the simple fact, they don't have the viewership to generate the 30. We did an article this morning breaking it all down. They stated that if they give them the 30, they're going to lose $430 million in 1 year alone. As the WNBA owners, these old players has to realize that if they don't get a deal done, the entire league is going to be forfeited for the 2026 season, and maybe even...
The WNBA spokesperson was straightforward about the league's stance. They said the Players Association's most recent proposal is still unrealistic and would result in hundreds of millions in losses. The number being referenced is $430 million in a single year if the 30% revenue share demand were granted. This isn't an inflated negotiating tactic. It's a league that has operated at a loss for 30 straight years, telling its players that their financial demands simply don't align with the current revenue reality.
The season will not happen if that is what is contingent on getting a actual agreement done. It won't happen. They will not come to an agreement.
The players' side essentially dismissed the new proposal as inadequate. There was no change to the salary cap, no adjustment to revenue sharing, a minor tweak in how expenses are calculated, and a housing guarantee that, according to some reports, had already been part of the 2025 agreement framework. The WNBA's own spokesperson confirmed that, aside from that small adjustment, the revenue-sharing model remained identical to the league's prior offer.
If we're going to have a season, it has to happen within this next month of coming to an agreement. Otherwise, it's going to be a lockout or strike, which is insane. Our CBA... It is, dude, insane. I'm not really allowed to share everything that's going on, but it is so weird to me that like half our league as owners want to pour in and give, and like the other half just don't. Indiana takes care of you. Like they truly take care of you from top to bottom. New York does the same thing. Phoenix, Seattle, San Fran do a great job. I think Toronto's going to do a great job, but like it is just blows my mind that like these other owners are doing the most bare minimum. And it's like, sell your team and let other people who want to be a part of something great, like put their money into it. All these other leagues are amazing, right? You have Project B, which is going to be phenomenal. You have Unrivaled, which is a lot of people are doing. But I do think, you know, the WNBA is the platform of it, you know? And so you got to have it. So I'm really hoping that if the league side gets their ish together, then I think we're 70% going to have a season.
I mean, 70. I just no one's
Going
making
on-
money if the season doesn't happen.
Business-wise, you can't not have a season. That'd be like the worst thing that you could possibly do for the WNBA. And they know that. The owners know that. So they have got to come correct.
The two sides remain at a standstill on the numbers that really matter: salary cap and revenue share, with training camp and the draft hanging in the balance as negotiations circle without progress. This is where Caitlin Clark's response takes on significance. Throughout the process, she has stayed measured, calmly analyzing CBA developments from the NBC analyst desk, while other players posted rants on social media, protested at All-Star Weekend, or focused on NDAs. Clark expressed confidence that a deal would be reached in the coming weeks, without attacking the league or the owners, representing the WNBA professionally on national television, even as some player representatives missed meetings in New York due to travel from Miami. That composed posture set the stage for this latest development. Yet the new proposal still emerged unchanged on the critical numbers that mattered, and Clark responded. Clark's response wasn't a viral TikTok outburst, nor was it a provocative statement meant to grab headlines. Instead, it was calm, sincere, and straightforward, delivering far more impact than the loudest voices in these negotiations combined. When the player recognized by everyone on both sides as the main reason this negotiation even matters speaks candidly, people listen in a way they don't for anyone else. Her message was clear: the league must act immediately, not sometime later. The current surge around women's basketball, the sponsorship deals, television contracts, ticket demand, and cultural spotlight, is temporary. Opportunities like this don't last forever. And right now, those who should be preserving that momentum are stuck debating revenue percentages in a league that has been operating at a loss since long before most current players were in high school. As Stephen A. Smith has pointed out publicly, and others closely observing the situation have confirmed less formally, this isn't a battle being driven by the young players who joined the league with Clark and embody its commercial potential. This battle is largely being led by veteran players who have been in the league long enough to feel entitled to a bigger share of revenue that wouldn't even exist at its current level without the very player they have spent the past 2 years treating with varying degrees of hostility. That tension is real, well documented, and perhaps the most frustrating aspect of this entire saga for anyone who truly cares about the future of women's basketball. The figures are clear and don't leave much room for interpretation. The WNBA has operated at a loss for 30 straight years. Its survival has relied on NBA subsidies and owners with deep pockets willing to absorb deficits for various reasons. The league has also endured because the product maintained enough cultural significance to keep its infrastructure afloat, even when finances didn't justify it. Then Caitlin Clark arrived, and everything shifted. Ratings soared, attendance broke records, merchandise sold at unprecedented levels, and television contracts improved as networks recognized that her presence made WNBA games commercially viable in a way they hadn't been for years. It's Clark who enables the owners to make the current offers, including a $5.65 million salary cap. The guaranteed housing and upgraded benefits exist because the league's revenue situation improved, and that improvement is largely thanks to one player more than any other. Players demanding 30%, 27%, or 25% of that revenue are essentially seeking a significant portion of money made possible by Clark's impact. In a league where many of those same players spent her first 2 professional seasons either challenging her physically on the court or downplaying her commercial value publicly. That context is critical, and it's why Clark's calm, straightforward response to stalled negotiations carries such moral weight. She is the player with the most at stake if the season falls apart. She is the one whose commercial momentum cannot be enhanced by a work stoppage. Her Nike shoe launch, Gatorade Rainberry follow-up, and State Farm campaigns all depend on an active WNBA season to realize their full potential. And throughout it all, she has handled herself with more professionalism than anyone else involved in the discussion. Mark Cuban's entrance into the discussion with his nil-style proposal is worth noting because it brings the kind of innovative thinking the league needs. His reasoning was clear. WNBA teams simply don't have the extra revenue from tickets, local sponsorships, and shared league income to significantly raise salaries from their own budgets. At the league's current revenue levels, the numbers just don't add up, no matter what percentage is applied to the revenue-sharing formula. Cuban suggested allowing teams to set up nil-style sponsorship arrangements that pay players directly from sponsors, bypassing the team's operating budget. This approach, similar to how college nil deals work, would let local sponsors collaborate with teams to provide compensation packages that supplement player income without coming from the league or team funds.